Norm, I would consider you arguably maybe the best host of Weekend Update on SNL. I think you're one of the most beloved. I mean, I feel like I'm really like crawling in. But anyways, you know, if you were still hosting, what would you have to say about Donald Trump?
Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Well, you know, Donald Trump's like an interesting character because obviously what he's saying is resonating with the American public, you know, or he wouldn't be on top of the polls, right? And so if you have a clown saying these things, you know, an utterly unlikable person saying these things, imagine if you had a charismatic individual, you know, somebody with the charisma of Reagan or Bill Clinton saying something like this, then you could be in dangerous territory, boy.
Could you do a little...
That was funny, huh?
Profound.
Norm?
It was profound. I thought you were going somewhere like leader of Germany. I didn't know where we were headed.
Yeah.
You were just on Fallon the other night.
Yeah.
Trump was there. Did you guys talk a little bit?
Well, what happened was, first of all, like, I watched it, I thought it was fine. Then the next day they were like, Jimmy wasn't, you know, it's Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to ruin his chance to get to host Face the Nation, you know? So, no, it was like, I was second guest, and he was first guest. First time I was ever second guest.
Really?
Yeah. And
I didn't even really like surprise, like, oh, continue.
But it was Donald Trump, you know. So there's only like a couple minutes between. So Donald Trump came out, and he was with the Secret Service guys. And I said, "Can I get a picture, Mr. Trump?" And so he's like, "Oh, I know you, I love you. Yeah, we'll get a picture." I knew him from before. He goes, "We'll get a picture. Just give me a minute." And then he turns around, he walks down the hall, and gets in an elevator.
You're still waiting.
Yeah, I was like,
You're like, best trick ever.
I know, it was like a Buster Keaton movie or something.
Gotta use that. That's a good one.
You met Trump recently, is that
I
right?
met Donald Trump at a
Is this a true story?
Yes,
Or is
sir.
this one of your, he has a farm and a goat comes by? Because I'm not putting up with that shit. Oh yeah. I saw Trump. Trump. He had a farm. He said, "I want you to meet my donkey," he said. And I was like, "Well, Mr. Trump, I know you're running for president, but tell me more about this here donkey." "Well," he says, "if you want to see the donkey, you got to first meet my 3 daughters. Now, the first one's shy, the second one's sexy, and the third one has 1 leg." I'm making all of this up.
I know.
But this is exactly what you do.
But the ending, I would never tell that type of joke, because that's that kind of a joke that we shouldn't be telling.
You're right. I apologize.
But I will say, no, I did meet Trump. No,
This is true. You met
an
Trump.
absolutely true story. I was on another talk show, not a competing talk show, because talk shows don't compete.
Hey,
anymore.
and I think no show competes with this one.
No, sir.
Who would you trade places with for a day?
I guess Donald Trump.
Just for the money, or?
Yeah, just to know what it is to live in a palace and have you know, thousands of people beat each other up.
And Melania?
And Melania gets thrown in the deal too.
You met Donald Trump when he was on The Tonight Show on Jimmy Fallon show. Now, tell us about that encounter you had with Donald Trump.
Well, I'd met Donald Trump many, many times in New York City, just because when I was doing Saturday Night Live, he was a fixture in New York City, and he'd come to a lot of the shows, and he was just a local eccentric, you know, that people mostly loved in New York because he fixed the rink in Central Park when the city couldn't. But no, when I was on Jimmy Fallon, that's when Jimmy Fallon tousled his hair and got in trouble for it, and I was the other guest. So I was just out in the hallway, and I said, "Donald, can I have a picture?" You could call him Donald then. I guess you can still call him Donald. We don't have to call him President, apparently. But I said, "Can I get a picture with you?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely, sure, Norm." And then he walked down the hall and got in the elevator with the Secret Service guys. So, but he was just doing it as a joke. A lot of times, the problem with candidates that, or political candidates that do comedy is obviously comedy doesn't translate well to the page sometimes, you know. Sarcasm is lost, obviously, and things like that. So if someone says something that's meant self-disparagingly or satirically, and you want to take it out of context, you can. That happened a lot of times with Trump on the campaign trail.
But you know, he's being caricatured on Saturday Night Live, like quite mercilessly by Alec Baldwin. Like, is it funny to you? Is that funny?
No. The only reason I don't find it funny, when I was there, Darrell Hammond did Donald Trump, and that shows how far back Trump goes, because that was 20 years ago. But Darrell did him then. It was a softer Trump, you know. I think it was a Trump that was a lot closer to his real self. But if you do, the problem with, if you do an impression of someone, you have to like that person, you know, because you're playing the person, and people like themselves. So you can't play someone and have contempt for them at the same time. You know, it doesn't work as an impression. So I don't like his impression, and I have no political affiliation. I just mean from a comedy level.
Where is the funny in Donald Trump? Because he does think he's funny, right?
Yes, but other people think he's funny too. I attended one of his just to see, you know, because I wanted to see it for myself. His performances in front of these grand halls, and he's enormously funny and entertaining. And I don't know that there's normally with politicians. You know, it takes, you need to be humble, you know, to be really funny. And I think that's why Ronald Reagan was the funniest president that I ever saw, because he always had this humility to him. I was kind of lost with President Obama, because people told me he was funny, but to me he was too self-aware. And of course Hillary couldn't have been more strident, you know. And I think people don't vote on issues as much as they just vote on who they'd like that old saw about who you'd rather have a beer with, you know. And nobody wanted to have a beer with Hillary Clinton, you know.
You say that he has to be, that one person has to be humble to be funny, but I don't think Donald Trump is very humble, is he?
No, there's no humility to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is more funny in the way that a WWE wrestler is, you know. So he is a different kind of funny, which is a sort of a self-deluded, I don't know if it's self-delusion though. I don't know if it's all, I think it's just all an act. I don't think really that Trump ever wanted to be president. I think that he was always just playing to be president of whatever that hall he was playing in was, you know. And I've seen this happen with comedians too, that you start thinking you're good because the people that come to see you all like you, you know. But the reason they came to see you is because they like you. So politicians and comedians both make that mistake of thinking they're much better than they are, because they're never criticized by the people that don't like them. That's why social media is so good, because you can see the people that don't like you at all.
I listened to an interview you gave Larry King, and you said the ruin of Donald Trump will be his addiction to playing the halls, right? So he's a great performer. He just wanted to be you, like he wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and he just accidentally became a president?
My guess would be that his plan was to make a big splash, lose, oh, that's not good. What should we do now, Joyce?
Just don't answer, okay? If it's possible.
No, I won't answer.
Yeah.
So should I start answering that question again?
Sure.
Yeah, I think him becoming president surprised him. I think, you know, it's funny that people don't remember, but back in the debates, there was a big issue with Donald Trump saying if he lost, it meant the election. Are you kidding me? I know, I did. Oh, 1 second. Hello? Yes. Oh, I gotta call you back. I'm on the TV, man. Yeah, I'm on the TV right now. Oh my God. But I'll call you right back. Sorry.
Okay, I'm not going to
I gotta
ask you
turn
the
sound
question
down.
again.
I feel that Trump, personally, I feel that he didn't think he was going to become president. And interestingly, the thing that people don't remember was that, but I remember, was that during the debates, there was all this talk of Donald Trump saying, if he loses, it means the election is rigged. And all the media were saying, no, that's impossible. You know, take that back. You cannot say that about the American Republic. No election here could ever be rigged. That's impossible. And of course now they're saying the exact opposite. But I think it was Trump's idea at that point that he would say it was going to be rigged, thinking he thought Hillary was going to win, I think. And then he would start a network or something like that where he could speak and be the loyal opposition of his own, something different than Fox.
Let me ask you this. So your Bob Dole imitation was pretty famous back in the day. So would you do Donald Trump today? Would you do a Donald Trump imitation?
I try to not do comedy about Donald Trump because I think I had one joke about Donald Trump that I ever did where I said that Americans hated Hillary Clinton so much that they voted for someone they hated more than Hillary Clinton to rub it in. And that's the only time I ever made a joke about Trump. But I try to stay away from it because it's just, it's low-hanging fruit, and also, Trump oftentimes is doing self-parody, and nothing looks dumber than if you parody self-parody. You really get caught not understanding.
So comedy in the time of Trump, is it more difficult than it was when you were on Saturday Night Live?
It's more difficult in the time of Trump for good comedians, and it's way easier for bad comedians. You don't have a worldview by just saying you don't like Trump. You know what I mean? That doesn't count. Like you can't just say I hate Trump, and that makes you a good person. And the Democrats just can't say I hate Trump, and that means they have a position. That's no position. So for idiots, it's an easier time because you go, well, that guy's the idiot, not me. But if you try to do smart comedy, it's better to stay away from Trump.
Norm Macdonald, thanks so much for being with us today, for spending this time with us. It was great. Great to see you.
Great to see you. I love you, Joyce.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Donald
short
Trump.
joke? Donald Trump. Oh,
Donald Trump.
But I thought you don't tell
Donald Trump joke.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, but I want to get in.
Are you a supporter of Donald Trump, or are you against Donald Trump?
I'm against Donald Trump.
Okay. All right.
Donald Trump goes into
a bank? No.
Bar. He goes into a bar.
Does he fuck a frog?
No.
I can believe that.
No.
Donald had his. He played pretty. He played
Donald
around.
Trump goes into a bar and he says, bartender says, "What's up, Donald Trump?" Yeah. And Donald Trump goes, "I tell you something." He says, "I got me a genie." He says, "I got one of them lamps. I rubbed it. Goddamn, a genie didn't come out. Gave me 3 wishes." Bartender says, "What'd you wish for?" He said, "Well, first thing I wish for, all the money in the world. I got it. I'm a billionaire. Then what else do you wish for?" "I wish for all women in the world." He says, "Got all these women. Married the most beautiful woman I've ever met." And the bartender says, "Oh man, that's great." And he said, and then Donald Trump goes, "But I did fuck up a little." He says, "How'd you fuck up?" He goes, "Oh, I wish for a giant pumpkin head."
Look at you.
That's a crazy.
What do you do? You sit home all day and write these things?
I'll tell you this. A guy in
by
a
the way,
bar told me a joke that I thought was one of the funniest jokes about Donald Trump. Is an old Mexican fella, and he runs a bookstore. And he's been in the country his whole life. He's worked hard for the American dream, and now he has a bookstore, you know. He saved all his money from all the terrible jobs he had to do because he came over here illegally, but he became a great citizen and a great man in the United States.
And then it's about to go down. We're here to stay and run this town. Bring in the heat, bring in the energy. We're the queens of the festival, can't you see? We're the queens of the festival, here to rule the stage. Jumping beats and make your body engage. From sunrise to sunset, we're taking it all. We're the festival queens standing tall. Ooh, yeah, ooh. From dawn till dusk, we command the crowd's gaze. Every beat, every rhyme sets our souls ablaze. With swagger and style, we own this domain. In the realm of music, we reign supreme, no chain. Feel the rhythm pulsating through your veins. Our verses ignite fire, never wane. With each lyric we spit, each move we make, we carve our legacy, leaving jaws to quake. We're the queens of the festival, here to rule the stage. Dropping beats and make your body engage. From sunrise to sunset, we're taking it all. Festival queen standing tall. Ooh, I get it. Ooh. No crown needed, our all's the crown jewel in the kingdom of sound. We never play the fool with beats as our scepters and rhymes as our decree. We're the sovereigns of rhythm for all to see. So bow down to the queens as we own the night. In the kingdom of music, we're the guiding light. From the first note to the last, we'll always be the festival queens, forever wild and free.
And I'm here at the pleasure of the United States from Canada. And so this Mexican guy has saved his money and has opened a bookstore. And he's happy about this. Big, fat, white guy comes in, redneck, you know. He goes, "You got Donald Trump's latest book?" And the Mexican, you know, he's taken this his whole life, you know. You can notice by the slope of his shoulders.
Yeah.
And he says, "No, sir, I do not have it." Quietly, you know, but with great dignity. Big fat guy adjusts his belt buckle. Says, "Don't you even understand what I'm saying? Goddamn Mexican. You even speak English?" Says, "Well, sir, I believe I'm speaking fluent English to you right now." "Yeah, well, maybe not." "Anyways, you got the goddamn Donald Trump book, or don't you?" He says, "I've explained to you, sir." He says, I'm not going to ask you this again." He goes, "You got that goddamn book, or don't you?" Now, this old Mexican man has finally taken all the outrage that he has held within him throughout his whole life, being treated like a second-class citizen in a country that he pays taxes, boils over, you know. And he addresses this big fat redneck, and he goes, "Listen, pal," because "I want you the fuck out of here. I never want to see you in this fucking place again. I don't welcome you. You suck. I fucking hate you. Get out." The guy says, "That's it. Is it in soft cover or is it only in hard? Because my wife, I want to get it for the wife, but I don't want to pay for the hard cover."